So here we go. I think we're recording. So I want to start with just a few announcements. And one of them is about using the Healy and getting into balance. And so for those, there's a few new people on the call tonight, one lady from the UK. So I want to welcome new people to the call. We do this every Tuesday. I want to say that this in 1 week since last Tuesday, I've had 2 Healy people become pregnant that were not planning on becoming pregnant. I don't think Ron and Brad will have to worry about this one, but I know they're on the call. But what I want to say about getting pregnant when you don't think you can get pregnant is that's a positive testimony, but it may be an unexpected little thing going on when you're 45 years old and you have a grown child, or you're 38 years old. So I just want to explain that in natural medicine over the last 20 years, I've had this happen multiple times where someone is convinced they cannot be pregnant. I've had women that are 55 and 58 years old restore their menstrual cycle after 8 years of not having one. These are totally normal things when the body is working perfectly.
Can we all scream? Can we all just scream right now? Ah!
Yeah.
Sorry, I had to throw that in there.
Everybody that was happy to get rid of that, guess what? It can come back. And but it's a sign of balance. It's actually a sign of health. The older you maintain a menstrual cycle, except you guys out there, is a sign of fertility, is a sign of health. In Chinese medicine, vitality, adrenals, and fertility are all combined. Like they would look at that all together. So one thing I want to say is that if you guys are in menopause, or if you guys are in perimenopause, or you guys have been doing hormone support, one of the 2 people was 38 years old on birth control, got pregnant. And remember, if you're there balancing hormones, guess what? You're balancing your hormones. What happens when you have balanced hormones? You're fertile. You're more fertile, even if you don't think you can be. And then the other example was a lady that was 45, and she had not been on any birth control for 8 years. So anyway, I just want to share that you need to be careful. There's other methods for birth control. I'm just saying that as your liver is working better, your kidneys are working better, just don't assume it's not possible. So that's all I want to say about that. I think you guys got the gist by now. Okay. The other announcements I want to make are tonight is going to follow the same structure as last week. We're going to talk about the Blue Dot app exhaustively, and we're going to cover everything that we know about it and what to do about it, how to use it, even some tricks and things that we've covered on previous calls. But since this call is going to be focused on the Blue Dot app, it'll be recorded so you can easily share it with other people. When I'm putting my hand in front of the camera, it's because I'm admitting people into the call, in case you guys are wondering why I'm doing that. Okay, the next announcement is we are doing the prosperity group, the advanced group for 2021. And we're doing the broadcast every month, and we're continuing to do those. And each month has a little bit of a different focus. This month is physical. That's what I'm focusing on for you guys that are subscribed. And I'm going to do something I haven't offered yet. If you are a current subscribed person to our prosperity group, meaning you've re-signed up since January and paid the $39 a month, and Maria's going to show you in a minute when she's showing her computer screen how you to do that. If you want to do that, you can send me an email or send it to GwenandMaria2020, or you can send it to my email. I don't care. And if you have a special request, now the special request has to be something for the group, like balancing hormones, balancing glucose, easing pain, or being pain-free, let's say. But I can't do something for one person, like that wouldn't help other people too. Like, so it has to be something that would be good for the whole group. So let me just say that. The other thing is, tonight we're going to get into the Blue Dot app a lot, but we're not going to try to teach you guys modalities. I mean, we could spend a whole night talking about Bach essences and how to use them. We did that in the advanced workshop. We could spend an hour or 2 just on I Ching or I King. We could spend the same on the nutrition or homeopathy. We covered all this stuff in our advanced workshop that we did a few months ago. if you missed that workshop, the recording is still available. And that's where we really get into the nitty gritty. So if you're looking at Materia Medica going, I don't even know what this is, or the nutrition, we are not going to try to teach all that tonight because we cannot do that in an hour or two. It was like a 3-day weekend. So please consider, if you want to really get the best use out of the Blue Dot app, that you might consider doing the advanced workshop now. If you want, you can do it in your own pace, and you're going to get everything that everyone else got, which was the recordings and the documents, you know, all that stuff. So I do want to give us a little bit of a plug there, because everyone's comments after the workshop were really great and very nice and sweet and favorable.
Even though we kept them hostage for 3 days.
We did.
We kept y'all hostage for three days.
And we didn't give enough
there was a recording of the advanced workshop?
There is. Yeah. I'll show you where when I get to my screen share.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Maria's about to take over now. You can buy it as a recording. And if you are really wanting to get the best out of your Blue Dot Healy, I would highly recommend it. So I don't think I missed anything on announcements. Maria's going to go into all that now. And then I'm going to go into actually showing the Blue Dot app. And so I'm going to, just because the last time we weren't sure what was going on with the video, so I'm going to turn my video off, and then Maria's going to take over, and then we'll switch back when you're ready, Maria.
And then the other thing that we need to mention is neither one of us are willing to delete our Blue Dot app, reinstall to show a demo on it. So we're going to show this the slides of what it looks like, but then also places where you can go and see an actual it happening in person. But both of us have clients and stuff that we're just not willing to risk losing that information. I've got a lot of long distance clients, and Gwen has a lot of history that she doesn't want to lose. So it was kind of unfortunate that both of us are in a place where we don't want to start from scratch, but we will get you through and show you places where if you have issues, you can troubleshoot and watch somebody do it live.
Yep. So if you want to go ahead and show your screen, Maria, I'm going to turn off the video and I'll come back on when you're ready.
Okay, that sounds good. Okay, and so, all right. So let's just go with that business right away. As far as what Gwen was just talking about, this is the website. Results are typical. I am still working on getting it uploaded to a new platform. If you get to a Viagra site, that is not me. And so you'll need to type into the address bar up here, resultsaretypical.com. When you get here, if you just go to buy now, then click on the buy now button, and then that takes you here to Gwen and my area. Here is the Attract Abundance subscription. That is, you're getting broadcasting from Gwen's New Vision system, her software program. You're getting daily, and sometimes many times during the day or throughout the day, broadcasts to your energetic field. And I think the majority of us who have been doing this for quite some time now are recognizing how much more abundantness is coming into our realm randomly. I know that I'm seeing that. So this is where you would click for that. And then that just turns into a monthly subscription until a time comes where you'd like to cancel. Here is the original workshop that we did back in August. That's the natural health workshop. That takes you from all the systems in the body all the way through to how everything is coordinated and connects. We found in the very beginning that there were a lot of Healy people coming into our realm that just didn't have the basic information on the body and how all the systems were intertwined. And so here they were using the Healy, but not really recognizing why this was affecting this. And so we thought it would be fun to put a workshop together, and it turned out to be a great success because there were so many people that were just thankful that they had that information. And even for people who knew the information, they said it was a really nice refresher. So that was nice to hear. The advanced healing workshop is the one that we did in November. That's where we covered everything in the pink and the Blue Dot app, and a lot of really cool things on how to utilize this cool little device and other things. So there was a lot smashed into 3 days. We felt like we really overwhelmed people, but the nice thing is it's all recordings and you get all of the handouts. I will tell you, in the natural health workshop, there was a little bit less than 1 ream of paper. I think a half a ream of paper in handouts. Just that alone was worth $149. And then also in the advanced workshop, there were a number of handouts. They're just really helpful in just if you're a practitioner and you're using it, great help, but also just for the layman, just for yourself and your family and your friends, just to maneuver, having some great stuff in your toolbox. So this is where you would find that. Those 3 things are here. Okay, and then I wanted to note, let's see here, I just got it uploaded. I don't have it here yet. Let me go back to my channel content. It's not quite here yet. I'm finishing it, but this is the Pink Dot app that we did last Tuesday. I just got it edited last night and it just uploaded today. I will go in and I will put all of the timestamps of everything that we talked about, the progression all the way through. I will also be doing that with this video today. So I will make sure that I have in the description all the timestamps of where you can find things. So that is, our channel is Gwen and Maria, written out, the Gwen and Maria 2020. So if you go to YouTube and you just type here in the search, Gwen and Maria, if I can spell Maria 2020, that takes you to our page. Okay, I'll just do that so it goes there. I guess it's not gonna. Anyway, that's where it takes you to. You'll see this little icon, and that's us. Okay, ATP 123. I'm going to show you where we're going to take you to as far as the Blue Dot app. I'm going to go home. I'm going to show this really quick because this is a good place for you, just if you just want to sort of do this on your own and not follow this through. Go to atp123.com, and then you're going to click on your device, because now we're talking about the Blue Dot. So you click on your device, and then you'll click on the Blue Dot button. So you'll just click on that. If you go to the home page and you happen to scroll down and you see your device, you're going to click on the Blue Dot. Okay, so it's going to take you to the same page. Okay, so then this, I've got a PowerPoint ready, so it'll go through some of these, but this is part of the pictures that I wanted to do. This is the setup, the resonance. This is where you find your manual in the back office, but then here is how to set it up. And when you click here, it just takes you to the photos that I'm going to show you. And we're going to talk over them. So this is that. It's not all of them, but at least it's the starter pages. Okay, and then here are some videos on specifics on how to save the master key, how to download your resonance from your Play Store, that type of thing. And then here's all those great videos that just show you. They're just like, I don't know, 2-minute videos at the most of just little snippets. Sometimes they're not super detailed, and certainly they don't cover any glitches or anything like that. So but it's a nice thing for you to see what it's supposed to look like when everything is running world in Wi-Fi, when everything is running great in Wi-Fi and Bluetooth world. Okay, and then this goes into some of the things that we did in the advanced workshop. It has all of these. So we are going to get into some of this tonight, but really we covered it all in the advanced workshop. We're going to go basically tonight how to get to the clients, how to enter them, how to set up, how to do the aura scan, how to create your own program if you want to vibrate or broadcast that to somebody. But we're going to start here. So this is where you would go for getting into your Blue Dot app, which is homepage. From the homepage, go to your device, click the Blue Dot, and then here you go. Okay, so now let's go to this. And Annette, can you give me a nod that you see Healy on the screen? Perfect, thank you. You're coming up in my little realm over here so I can see you. Okay, so this is the Blue Dot app, and this I just took from ATP 123. So this is just showing you where you're going to go. If you have an Apple phone or an iPhone, Apple device, you're going to go to your app store and you're going to type in Healy Analyze app, and it'll show you the Blue Dot. And this is what you'll download, and you'll say get. If you have an Android, you'll go to your Google Play Store and you'll look for the same thing. Then it'll say download, install, whatever the word is, get, sometimes there's just a little cloud here and you just have to click on the cloud. So when you look at it, just kind of figure out how do I download this to my phone? If you want to click on this when you get to ATP, that will send you to another little video on how to get it. So we've tried to cover all the bases here for you. So all of this is on ATP 123 on that Blue Dot app. Okay, so after you're downloaded, then you will, so remember, this is the initiation of the Blue Dot app. This is the part that people are really fearful of, because in the beginning there were a lot of issues with the master key. They've rectified some of that, so it's really nice, but it is important. And so you don't ever want to just strike out alone unless you feel really, really confident. Contact somebody in your upline, follow along with a video like what we're showing, just so you feel a little bit more confident that the screens you're seeing are what you should be seeing. So as soon as you get that downloaded, you're going to go ahead and you're going to turn your Healy on, and you're going to go ahead and initiate from your phone screen your Blue Dot app. So this will be the first thing that comes up is a disclaimer, and then you're going to go ahead and click next. Okay, and then you're going to say I have a Healy, because if you're trying to get into the Blue Dot app with the resonance capabilities, then you do have a Healy. So you're going to click I have a Healy. Okay, and then make sure that your Bluetooth is on and your location device is on. I try to now remember to go in before I even turn my Healy on and go into my phone and turn on the location device and the Bluetooth so that it's already there. Sometimes that changes the Bluetooth and the Wi-Fi connection, and I end up swiping the app closed to get back in. So I'm trying now to remember to turn on the Bluetooth and the location before I even turn my Healy on. Don't always remember, but I'm getting better. So you'll click I have a Healy, and then it'll ask you to log in. Okay, so this is the part here that some people get confused on. So what you want to do is you want to log in with the email that your Healy account is associated with, or if you're a customer, your Healy account as a customer, whatever you put in initially as your email associated with that account. So it's not like logging into your back office. You're using your email, but your password is what you use to get into your back office. Your password is not with your email. So you're not trying to get into your email. But instead of having username here, they are now using your email as your ID. A little bit confusing for people, but just try to remember it's the email associated with your account and it's the password associated with your account. And then this is another area where it trips up people because it looks like it should slide and it doesn't. And so people will be sitting there sliding it and it won't activate. But if you just tap it, if you just tap those little buttons, they turn blue, and this login button then lights up and you can continue. If your password doesn't work and you know that the email is the one that you signed up with, if your password doesn't work, just click forgot your password, and it's really quick. It will immediately send you a password or a way to change your password really right away. It's pretty quick in doing it. So if it just isn't working with your password, go ahead, but remember the password is case sensitive. Okay, so then what Healy is going to do next is going to connect to the cloud. And what has to happen is that the home office has your serial number and your account information tied. But now what we're going to do is we're going to tap into that information, but with a master key, that 4069-bit encrypted code that takes up an 8.5 by 11 page that will allow you from that point on to get into your account. So that's the security measure that's been taken. So here you're going to click sync changes, and then it will start downloading everything that it needs. This could take a while, depending on your Wi-Fi, depending on your Bluetooth, everything. However, like at Gwen's house, it's super fast because she's got fiber optics and it's really fast. Here at my office, I just helped somebody yesterday or the day before, and it was probably a good 5 minutes that this progression bar took to go from 0% up to that 9900%. Okay. Still waiting. I don't know why there's 2 in there. Okay, so as soon as that's done, synchronization is complete and successful. And then see back, and once you click OK, it's going to allow this back page to come up, which is this. You can download your master key for accessing your cloud data. Now, this is the important part, is that you want to save your master key. It can be recovered, but it's easier just to save it in the beginning and save it to your device. And what has to happen is we need to get to your main screen in order for that to happen. So you're going to click Save Master Key. Okay, and then it should take you to your phone page, your phone home screen, or something like this, where you can scroll through and decide where you want to save it. So it might have some of the things you've done current, but if you keep see it's how it says swipe up for more apps. So you just kind of keep scrolling through until you find your email. So that's what we recommend, is emailing it to yourself. If you have a couple of different servers that you use, like if you have Yahoo and Gmail, or AOL and cloud, or whatever, just to send it to yourself in a couple of different servers. So you'll pick what you want here. I don't ever recommend texting it to yourself, or putting it in that, but you could certainly do that. But I've downloaded it to my It gives you several opportunities to back up your master key on your device. So I always tell people to email it first, then go back in and find either notes, or like I have Samsung Notes. And so I just went in and clicked on Samsung Notes, renamed my file, and now it's on my phone. So not only is my master key on my phone, but also I can email it to myself if I were to change my device. So this next screen is that happening. She chose to do her Gmail account, and then she wants to send it to 2 of her email accounts that she has for herself. And then I told her to put Healy, although she misspelled it, put Healy master key in here. And so this is what it will look like. It's a JSON file. If you just get to a place where you've thought you downloaded it or you can't find it, you can always go into your search and look for a JSON file. And there's been many times where people have found their master key just on that, because it's a JSON file, and there aren't many of those. But here she's putting in Healy master key. And then what's happened is, when you get to this place, Healy has already then attached that master key to this email. And when she clicks send, she will be sending it not only to this email account, but also this email account. Now she has it in a couple of different places. So for me, Stephen emailed it to me, my daughter emailed hers to me, and my son emailed his to me. So I have a folder in my email account that just says Healy Master Keys. And what I did is I went in here and I put Stephen's master key, Kayla's master key, Garrett's master key, whichever one it was. So now when I go in there, if one of them would ever need their master key, I have it in my email and I can just send it to them. They can then download it to their device. If they have a new one, and they get a new device, then, or a new phone, then they'll have it. Okay, so hopefully that's clear there. Okay, so this is where we went. This is the ATP 123, go to your device, and then click on the blue dot, and that'll take you to a lot of the information I just showed you here, plus some videos. And then I just found this little video. It's just a nice video that she put up. And she has a really sweet voice. So I'm going to show that to you here. But this is just go to youtube.com, and then you can put this in. So at the recording, if you don't have it here, if you haven't gotten a screenshot of that, then you can grab it when I get this posted on our YouTube channel. So I'm going to click out of this, and I'm going to go to
Maria, before you
yeah.
get out of master key,
Okay.
just before you change subjects, let me know, because I want to talk just briefly about the Blue Dot app and multiple.
Yeah,
devices.
let's go back over some of these slides and see if you want to interject any issues that you've had. Where would you like me to go back to?
Just in number 1, saving it, because saving it seems pretty simple when you're doing it. Like one advice I have, and this is for people who've never saved anything on their actual phone, okay? There's folders on your phone, and what we've learned through this process, and I'm one of those people, I mean, I had saved things in the note section of my iPhone. I had not ever saved a file because I don't have email on my phone for health privacy reasons. So when it came to saving the master key, I just kind of took the default. It just went there. And a lot of people do that and then they don't know where they saved it, because when they need to go back later and get it, they're like, I don't know where I saved it. So that's one thing I wanted to just reiterate, is that's one reason we're saying send it to your email if you do have like Gmail on your phone or whatever you have, so that you and put the subject line master key for Healy. Make it like super simple, because if you don't know where you saved it, guess what? We don't know where you saved it either. We can't retrieve magically your master key somehow. Like, that's one thing. And Lindsay takes a lot of calls about the master key. So if you don't know where to save it, then get someone who knows how to help you. Like, you know, because you want to find a folder that you're going to remember, because you may not need it for 6 months or 8 months or a year. I have people that don't even remember what username and password they created. So I kind of personally recommend, and we're telling people, make a folder for Healy. Put your username, put your password, put the email address you used. I mean, you don't know how many calls I get with people that don't just have that information, and you need that to get into the Blue Dot app. So one thing that I'm going to recommend is that you also put in your Blue Dot app folder or your Healy folder where you save the master key. You know, remind yourself. I'm not saying people are brain dead, but let's just imagine there's people out there that don't remember next week or next month. So just imagine you might be one of those people. Then put like saved it to this folder, whatever folder, because you're going to see when you go on iPhone, I don't know about Android, it actually comes up with folders. And you have to remember where you put it, because it's not going to be obvious when you go back to retrieve it. It's almost like you have to know the destination, just like on your computer, when you're looking for a document. If you don't know the name of the document, you're never going to find it. So like, even though it seems simple when you're doing it, that's not where the problem comes in. The problem comes back later in retrieval, because when you delete that Blue Dot app for some reason because of an upgrade or technical problems or whatever, you have to know where the master key is. Okay, so that's like my first tip, is actually write down what you did with it. Okay, and like Maria did, she had all her family send them to her. So that's a good idea. The other thing I'll say is that this happened more like back in like May, June, July, and this may not be as big of a possibility right now. But what happened in the early, I'm gonna say early, like this was like 20 years ago, but in the early days of Healy,
The early days,
there was an issue with the master key or the Blue Dot not being activated. And there was a period of time that Maria and I and a few other people were giving people temporary master keys. And then people were going into the Healy back office and requesting a master key because they lost it or they didn't know where they saved it. Okay, the problem with that is that then you have 2 or 3 master keys saved in your phone. And if you don't take the time to delete the ones that aren't the newest one, then when you have to go back and reload, you're confused. This happens to people all the time. So what happens is they get a new master key from the back office support people, they save it to their phone, and then they get their second Healy or they get their tablet or whatever other device. And then they call us and say, well, which master key is it? Like, I don't know. I don't even know which one's your newest one. So your data, if you have 2 or 3 master keys, this happened to like at least 10 people that I've personally dealt with. They had one master key saved on their tablet. They had a different master key on their phone. And then they didn't know which one was which. They didn't know which one was the newer one. I would even suggest that when you send that email, like you might say version 2 or version 3, or at least look at the dates on the email so you know that you're using the most current version. Because if those master keys, maybe we should also talk about, Maria, what the master key is actually doing. It's not anything except saving your client data. It's not a function of the Healy as far as it working. It's saving your client data. If you're only using the Healy on yourself and your dog, it may not be a big deal. But if you're using your Healy on, 20, 30 people, it gets to be a big deal, because you don't want to have to reload all those people. And in that case, you want the master key to sync between devices. If that's what you're doing, you want it to sync with the data. You want all your clients saved. So there is a little bit of master key management, I would say. Delete old master keys you're not using to not confuse yourself, or somehow date them or give them a version number. And I'm repeating this, but you guys have no idea how many calls we get on just this one thing about master key, losing it. And if you can't find it, you can go into the back office, put in a support ticket and request a new master key. You'll get sent one. That's a pretty easy request, but then you just don't want it to get mixed up with the old information. So if I missed anything, Maria, on that subject, I just wanted to cover it because it's such a thing that we get so many calls on.
It is. And then also I wanted to say here, she has her cursor here and she is, it had master, I think it had master key, but it had a whole bunch of numbers. So if she would have just left how it came through on the subject, she would have never been able to find it. Maybe with searching JSON in her phone search, she might have been able to find it, but she literally had to come in here and put Healy. And so you'll want to make sure in the subject of wherever you're saving it. Now I have mine saved to email, of course, like I told you, but then also in my Samsung notes, I opened up my notes, which was one of these options. When I scrolled, it was one of my options that I could put it in my notes. And right when I went there, just pretend this is notes, says notes up here. It allowed me to put in the title of what I wanted to save. It didn't have the to because it wasn't an email, but it allowed me to put in a title of it. So I have, Healy master key, and then it's saved to my notes. It automatically attached to that notes. So now if I opened up my Healy right now, I could find my master key in my notes. So yeah, it is important. And the first time getting into your Blue Dot app is the only time that you'll be asked to do this, unless for some reason you have a different device, a different phone or iPad or a tablet or something that you're bringing your Blue Dot app up on, or if you've happened to uninstall and reinstall the Blue Dot app, it will ask you for your Healy master key. The first time it will ask you to, let me come back here. It'll ask you to save your master key. That means that your master key hasn't been accessed before. This is the first time from Healy company that this device, this Healy unit and your phone device have tried to connect. This is what it'll say. Otherwise, it will say, let's see, it won't say download. What does it say, Gwen? It says, not transfer.
So install, I thought.
Install, is it install your master key? It doesn't say
no,
save.
I think it says, yeah, I thought it said either save or install, but I haven't done it in a while. But
Save the master key. Yes, save the master key is the first one, and then download, or I can't remember exactly what it says, but it'll say something different. It won't say save the master key. It wants you to bring it up. It wants you to find it so that Healy can find it too. Now, sometimes when that happens, it's not enough to just have it in your email stored that way. You actually have to open up your email. Sometimes you even have to download that file, open up your email, and wherever it says on your phone to download it so it's on your phone. And then Healy, the Healy will actually start searching all of your files. Okay, so I think we've covered that. And then the videos that we have, they show you how to do that too. It is a teeny bit daunting. I'm not going to lie. For some people, they're like, oh, I don't want to do, the pink dot was so easy. I don't want to mess this up. And in the beginning, like Gwen said, in the beginning, losing the master key was pretty frightful because you had at least 3 months of waiting time to get a service ticket through. So we had people that had their Healy device and they couldn't use it for several months because they just couldn't get the service ticket through to reinstate. Now you can actually go into your Blue app and get into the settings, and you can save it in other places. Once Gwen is doing that in her phone, she can show you where to go to that so that you could, once you have your Blue app up and running, you can go in and you can save it to a different place if you decide to. Okay, so I wanted to show you that. Let me get out of here. Okay. There we go. I wasn't clicked in the screen, so it wasn't letting me do that. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to reduce this in case somebody has questions on that. I wanted to go to this one. So this is the YouTube address. It's up here if you want to copy that down. That is also on that last screen of the PowerPoint that I had. So in the replay, you'll be able to find it in a few different places. But here she is in the middle of her. She's just adorable, and she's walking you through every little thing. So on this, see how I'm scrolling at the bottom, and you can see where all of these are. I'm just going to go back here. So it's asking for the Bluetooth. Yes, this is the other thing. Say yes to everything. If it wants to access your Bluetooth, say yes. If it wants to access your camera, say yes. If it wants to access your location, say yes. We're so used to being in a world where we say no to everything. So okay, so then literally she just walks you through. I've got the sound here turned down. You won't be able to hear it anyway, but I'm just going to walk you through. She's just basically showing exactly what we would love to show with you right now if we were willing to give up our blue app. But this is the screens that we just got done showing you, and she's walking through every single one. Turning it on. I mean, and she's walking you through the whole way. So this is a really nice one. There are many out there. There are so many videos that people have done now because this has been such a glitchy thing for people. But this is so nice because do you want to register in the cloud? Yes, we want to do that. She'll go to the login. It'll sometimes it does this. It has to try to connect to the Bluetooth. Again, it's just a really nice thing. There are so many little variables to what might happen to you when you're downloading your blue app or you're coaching somebody through it. So it's nice to have a few different videos that you've watched of what's happened, because then if you are helping someone in your downline get their blue app up and running, you might remember, oh yeah, I do remember okay, yeah, just Bluetooth, go ahead and tap it because it's not connected, but tap it, it'll start to connect, the Bluetooth will come on, and then she can start going through her whole thing. So this is just a really nice video. It's not the most professional from the standpoint of the visual, but she does everything in here just perfect and explains it. So this is just a really great video. Okay. That is really all I had, Gwen, on this part. Do you want to start up your phone and go that direction, or did you have something else to say in regards to this? We can watch her put it on her phone. Let's see. Let me go forward here. We'll look at this. So there's her screen. So see, she's just said, yes, I want to save the master key, the little pink button that was before that. So she's here. Encryption is in process. Depending on your device, this could take a few minutes. Yes, it could take. You just sit there and wait, and there was that screen. Now here she is going through, and she's choosing her mail. As soon as she chooses that, or her notes, she's got notes right there, or save to files. You can download it. She's got a file that she wants to go into. So see, you'll have lots of options. And if you put it in the downloads, if you just said download and downloaded it, you could always go back into your phone's downloads and change the name or change the location. So you could always do that. Okay. So she's talking about how to do it. She's going through, and then she goes into some of the beginning, putting in a client and stuff like that, that we're going to show you as well. So this ended up being a great video to find. I was just sort of perusing YouTube to see if I could find something that was super easy and friendly, and this seemed to be one that was great. So
Maria, we can link her YouTube link in our description under our YouTube, so we can actually link to her and this YouTube for the master key portion.
And this is such a nice video that I may go ahead and put it on our ATP 123 as a reference as well.
Okay. All right, well, I'm ready to do Bluetooth. I mean, Bluetooth. I'm ready to do Blue Dot. So
okay, so I'll stop share.
Okay, and then I'll start share, and then we're going to go into talking about, the difference of the way Maria and I both do it is slightly different. What we don't want you to think is that our way is the right way and that your way is the wrong way. We're sharing what we do because people ask us to share what we do, but don't feel like it's limited, that your way is wrong, because that's not true. Can you see my screen, Maria?
I can.
Okay, so the reason I didn't want to delete and start over is like what Maria said. You know, I have Eddie's whole history on this phone, which is right now on this particular Healy is pretty much his Healy. And I don't want to lose that data. I did load a client on this particular Healy the other day by accident because he's actually on all my Healys. But anyway, all right, so let's just go back to the beginning here. So this is after you've loaded the master key and you get into the Healy, this is what it looks like. And there's a home button. So down at the bottom left-hand corner, it looks like a house. That means home. I just touched it with my finger. So that's the home button. And you have, let's first of all go into clients. So it's going to show my clients and it's going to show them in alphabetical order by the first name. If I want to add a client, I can, it's very simple. When you just see up there on the top where it says add new client, there's a plus sign. And then you have to choose what you want to add. Do you want to add your car? Do you want to add a person? Do you want to add your pet? So I'll choose a person. And then if I want to choose, actually, let's just do somebody in this moment. Let me pull up a birthday. Okay, so I'll add my granddaughter and I'm going to take a picture. So let me just go back. I don't want to do this too quick. So you see where there's a plus sign in that top bubble that looks like just a little person icon. If you hit the plus sign, it either lets you take a photo of the person, like if you want to take it real time with your phone or camera, or it lets you choose from gallery. That means your phone photos. So if I want to choose, you know, from the gallery, I can scroll back to like, you know, getting a picture of her and not my plants and like here. Okay, so there's my granddaughter and grandson, but I can maneuver this. So I can choose the picture. Actually, if I want to edit it, like, let me go. Let me try to do a different picture that's just her. I really don't want two people in the picture. So if people ask that question, I really don't want that. So let me find one of just her. I have a million pictures over, of course, except for when I'm looking for one. Okay, so I'll just pick this one. And I can move this into the little frame and hit choose. Okay, so I don't want a couple. I don't want a family group picture. I want a single person. Okay, so then I'm going to put in her name. And her last name is Murray. You can put a middle name if you want. You can put in date of birth, but really the name and picture is the only single thing that's required, and that is in the user manual. If you guys look, wait, what am I doing here? August 23rd.
Let's talk about that really quick on the Android and the iPhone. So on the Android, when you go into the date, you actually have to touch it. On the Android, it has the date at the top. When you click on the date of birth, when it brings up the calendar, you have to click on the year, and then it will give you the scrolling so that you can go back to 1950, 60, 40, 50, whatever that is. When we first had this, we felt like we had to keep backspacing through 12 months every year. We'd be there forever just trying to load the date. And then at some point, somebody just touched the year and it allowed scrolling to come up so you could check the year. So just kind of play around with whatever shows up on your particular phone so that you can get to the year faster.
Yeah, so now I have all the information in, and I have done people where it's just name and picture. Okay, then you see the part right there where it says record vibration. I'm going to hit the plus sign. Now she's not here. I'm going to put the Healy in my right hand and record vibration. I'm just thinking of my little granddaughter. Let me see.
But you could also put the Healy on a photo. You could use, you know, if you had a photo of that person, you could put the Healy on top of the photo and record the vibration. Again, it's about intent.
Right. And I could look at her picture, put it on a picture. If she's here, I would have her hold it. So don't get hung up on she has to hold it because she doesn't. And then you see the little check mark up at the top to the right of add new client. That's how you save. If you do all this and then go do something else, guess what? It's all gone. Like that took me a few times in the beginning to get used to that being the save button. So I'm going to click on the little check mark up at the very top of the screen to the right of add new client. It says this client's been saved. Do I have a consent form? Yes, I'm the grandmother, so that's enough for me. And then do you want to perform a new analysis now? Yes, I do. Okay, so it's that easy to load a person. Just while we're on the subject of loading things, I think the picture is super important. I've had some cases of houses, land. I haven't done a car yet. I can think of group. And in the group, I did the picture of the group. And for one person, I did a mandala, like a image of the group that had all the names embedded in the image. That was pretty cool. So you can do like all kinds of things, like be creative in your mind, because it is going back to intent, but you need something to be the group. Like you just can't say, like if you were going to do like the Wilson family, I would call it the Wilson family as a group, and then put a picture. If that's a family, then put a picture of the Wilson family, because it doesn't really give you the place to list the members individually. If it's a house or a business or land or a farm, you can put the latitude.
Can you go into that, Gwen? Can you go into one of those pages?
Yeah.
Like the one of them that would have like a longitude, latitude, something.
Yeah, so building would have that, and it's there on the screen. So you have a place that if you don't have anything else, you could put a picture. You can pull up pictures from Google Earth. You can pull up pictures from property that's on the internet. Even property that isn't for sale usually has pictures on the internet from the last time it was for sale, because on like Zillow and Har.com and those kind of websites, those pictures don't actually go away. It'll show sold, but it'll still have a picture. Google Earth is pretty good at providing pictures of houses. If you just go look, plus the latitude and longitude would be there. You don't,
or you can Google you can just put into Google longitude, latitude, and it'll bring up a site for you to go into that you can put the address of wherever that building or place or whatever that is that you want to send energy to. Then you can go ahead and just put that address into that Google software program, and it'll bring up exactly the longitude, latitude that you can then put into here. So when we were doing Gwen for the hurricane, that's what we were doing. We put in her address, longitude, latitude. So yeah, we just did this for our car. We just took a trip to Kansas City, and I put the license plate of our rental car in there, and looked up on the thing. It had the date of manufacture. It didn't have the place, but the place of where we rented it from, and the address of who owned it. So that would be the Subaru dealership here in town, and put all that information, took a picture of it, put it on the dashboard, recorded the vibration, and then just sent it good juju for the trip.
Yeah, that's a great example. I haven't done a car yet, but I can imagine the plant would be the same as the house. Really, you have the latitude and longitude, and if there's a name or the date of germination, so that
you
would
could
be
put
like
a field in there. If you're a farmer, you could put a field in there, the longitude, latitude of a cornfield, a wheat field, whatever, for protection.
Yeah, and then I had this one used already once under other, like you could put business, but what about a marriage, or what about a divorce, or a legal document or a lawsuit? So you can, you'd put the name like so-and-so versus so-and-so. The date of the creation would be the day the lawsuit was filed. The place of creation would be, let's say, Houston, Texas. So think, like a lot of people say, well, can I do this? Well, I'm going to go back to, some of you guys weren't involved in this, but Raymond Grace was the speaker for the Houston Lone Star Dowsers last 2 weeks ago. And he cracks me up because he's considered one of the best dowsers in the world. But he always says, I do stuff because I didn't know I couldn't. Like, that's like the best advice I could say. Like, he does it with intention. And he's like, nobody told me I couldn't. So like, he's cleared arsenic out of water wells. He's cleared plugged up plumbing and pipes, so that's what I would say is think like Raymond, like go into like, what can I do? And if you don't think you can do it, guess what? You can't do it. So be be
Because you could
creative.
you could put your bank account under other. You could
Yeah.
do all kinds of things.
Yeah. So don't limit yourself, because it gives you enough fields that, you know, you can see when your bank account was opened, and you can put Gwen Foster bank account, place of creation, Katy, Texas, you know, so all kinds of, there's pretty much a field, I think, for everything. I can't think of, like, business could go under other, or organization.
Mhm.
Organization could also be like a group of people, like a nonprofit or some other organization. Like if you're involved in some organization and you want to boost the organization. So, you know, just don't limit yourself to people and animals. There's lots you can do here, which I think is pretty incredible. Okay, so anything else on that, Maria, before I go to the actual scans?
No, I think that's good.
Okay, so let's pull up my granddaughter. Okay, so we have little Miss Cheyenne right here, and then you see in the down at the very bottom to the left, you see the house and the home button. Well, this time I want to go to the one that looks like a digital pulse reading, or like a heartbeat reading, like at a hospital. And you're going to get to the screen that says resonance analysis or aura analysis. Let's do resonance first. Resonance starts with a basic question that is a default, and you can't change it as far as I know, but it says, with what do I have the greatest resonance now? So this is a question that comes up a lot of times from people. And as a practitioner, you know, you cannot say, like, this is what people tell me. They say, well, I wanted to know what I needed to do for sleep, but what came up was, let's say, something related to learning. Well, the question isn't asking what is your best thing for sleep. It's saying, what's the greatest resonance now? What do you have the most connection with? What do you have the most match with? Like, think of it like match, like a matching of what is, I can't say it's what's best for you right now. It just may be what's most prevalent for you right now. So it's not saying best. Okay. So don't read things into that. I've heard a lot of people explain this, and I'm like, it doesn't say that. It could be that particular day you're going through something that you're not normally going through, and it's going to find resonance there. It could be that day you didn't sleep good, but normally you do sleep good, but that day something about energy or sleep shows up for you. So just remember that question is what is being focused on, not necessarily what your particular health issue is, you know, so just keep that in mind when you're doing this, because I get that question a lot from people that are wanting help with a specific issue. That's why the basic and advanced classes were so important, because you can kind of override this screen and go into do anything for yourself. Like if you know you have edema and you have water retention, you can go to kidneys and bladder. You don't have to do the scan to go into a certain, you know, folder or a certain program list or a certain Pink Dot app. But anyway, let's say you're going to use this to make your determination. I don't always do this. I sometimes just go right to what I want. But if I say continue with database selection, I'm going to click on where the arrow is to the right. And then you get the whole list of all the Healy resonance programs, which the lower sections starting with Healy Gold are all your Pink Dot programs. And then above the Healy Gold are all the Healy resonance specific programs that are not in the Pink Dot. Now they are, if you have purchased some of the extra subscriptions, not all of them though, but like Matera Medica, or I'm not sorry, amino acids or nutrition and Bach is in some of the subscriptions. But let's just start. I'm going to show you what I do. Okay. I'm not saying this is the only way to do it, because Maria is going to tell you how she does it in a minute. This is what I do personally. I start with Bach. I put my finger on the hot pink analysis button. And then I put my thumb holding my phone until this bar goes all the way across. Again, depending on your internet connection, this could be fast or slow. I've even had it time out sometimes, and I just go back and start over. If you don't have a good connection, it may be kind of flaky for you, and that's because of your internet. Actually, I should also go see if I have my Wi-Fi turned on. I didn't even check, but it changes depending. Like right now, I only have 2 bars, so that could make a difference. It could be lightning fast also sometimes, like when I have 3 or 4 bars. Okay, Now, what shows up are the Bach essences, and there's a few things here to look at on the screen. So it reminds you of your question at the top with what do I have the greatest resonance now? And it says the highest resonance at 57% match is of the Bach remedy. Some people call it batch. It's an English, a UK guy, is Vervain. And it says for the burden of fanaticism and staples on fixed principles is balanced. The willingness to tolerate and the ability to adopt new arguments and opinions are strengthened, and thereby the personal development potential is supported. This is kind of funny because you would think, well, how does this apply to a 3-year-old? My little 3-year-old granddaughter is so stubborn. Like she gets her mind set on something. Like she has decided that she never needs a nap in her whole life, and she's about to get kicked out of daycare because she tells the daycare teachers that she does not need a nap and she's not tired, and she refuses.
So this is a perfect one.
This is perfect.
Perfect.
Because she has, and she thinks it's okay to eat yogurt and cheese and fruit and nothing else. And you can't convince her otherwise. I mean, she really does have very good arguments, like for a 3-year-old, and she cracks me up. Like sometimes I try not to laugh because I'm supposed to be like all serious, but she is opinionated. She is a good arguer, and she will not do something she doesn't want to do. And she needs a reason. Like she's one of those people, like, you just can't say it because I told you so, because she's like, yeah, but if I'm not tired, that doesn't make sense. Like that's literally what she'll say. Like, well, why would I need to take a nap if I'm not tired? So anyway, you can see like from the description, I'm kind of laughing because it's perfect. Okay. Then 54% is pine, and it says the burden of self-reproach and feelings of guilt is compensated. The recognition and acceptance of one's own limitations and mistakes combined with self-love and tolerance with one's own weaknesses. Now, there's another thing about her. She will not under any circumstance say, I'm sorry. Like she will take punishment of timeout, a spanking, or being grounded at 3 years old over saying, I'm sorry, even if she's at fault. Like I've never met a 3-year-old. Well, 3-year-old can be tough, but I've never met a 3-year-old like that. Like if she does something wrong, she just won't say it. And it's funny that she knows those words are the things she won't say. So I could just go through this and go, okay, this makes sense. Well, yours are going to be different. Like if you run this panel, but for me, I always like doing Bach first, because if there's some emotions getting in the way, emotions are driving our health, emotions are driving our physical body, emotions are driving our symptoms, emotions are, in my opinion, the cause of everything. So if I can't do some support and balancing on emotions first, I feel like the rest may not really work itself out too much. This one, the third one about dissatisfaction, she actually thinks that she shouldn't live with her parents because she doesn't like the way they raise her. Like, she's like, why can't she live somewhere else? She's 3.
Wow.
So
if you scrolled back up to the top. Okay, if we could change this statement with what do I have the greatest resonance now, the percentages might be different. So these percentages don't really mean, I don't want to say they don't mean anything, but please don't put tons of weight into these particular percentages. Vervain happens to be the best one that she resonates with based on that focus and intention, which is the question with what do I have the greatest resonance now? If we could change that for her and it said, I do not like to listen to authority, or I listen to my elders with grace and ease, then that Vervain might have come up 80% as a match. So again, we have to look at this focus and intention is pretty broad. With what do I have the greatest resonance now? That's a pretty broad statement. And so don't put a whole lot of credence into the specific percentages on these lists, because it's basically going off of what's the focus and what's the matchup for that focus. If we could be a little bit more precise in the intention, specifically what Cheyenne was going through, if Vervain was the perfect match, it might show a higher percentage. So a lot of people get hung up on the percentages. Don't. The Vervain is the top one. If her mom wanted to go to the health food store and buy one flower essence that would help her today, it would be Vervain. That would be the one that was the best matchup for everything that she's going through right now with that broad of of an intention. Does that make sense?
Exactly. And people, and that's that. I'm glad you said that, Maria, because a lot of people say, well, should I go buy the essence? No, because
You
you have
have to.
Healy and it could change tomorrow.
Mhm.
You know, your emotions, like what's showing up resonant now means now. Tomorrow could be something different. So why would you go buy a $16 essence? They're not expensive, but why would you buy one?
Unless for 6 months in a row, Vervain kept showing, then maybe, yeah,
Right.
that might be helpful.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. You know, and everybody knows this about me, but that's been on these calls, but if those percentages are under 50%, like if I just went to Bach and they're all under 50, I would tend to skip it because it's just not the most important thing today. That's just me. That's not what other people do, but I'm just telling you, if it's not over 50, I don't do it. But okay, so now I have my remedies. They seem to apply to my granddaughter. If I hit please select and use the, actions, like on where it's the hot pink button and I hit actions, then I'm touching where it says vibrate, the word vibrate. And I usually use the default 95% of the time. Sometimes I do less. I don't know what it's doing right now, but
Looks like it lost connection, which is a
yeah,
great demonstration. This happens.
it does happen. So I'm going to go back out. Well, let's see. Yeah, I did lose connection. Maybe because I sat there and talked too long and it timed out. I don't know. I don't usually sit there and talk about it. I just
Oh, this is perfect. Don't do anything yet. So
Okay.
when this comes up, people will say, well, it's saying it's not connected. How can it not be connected? I have my Healy, it's right here and it's on. How can it not be connected? Well, what you have to do is you have to tap where it says not connected. You have to tap that bar, whichever one relates to you, whichever Healy is yours. Because if you have several in your house, you might show a Healy watch, 2 Healys, whatever. Find your serial number and then actually touch the bar where it says not connected, which Gwen can do now, and it will start connecting. But it doesn't say tap here or click here. So some people are sitting there with their phone and it says, well, it's not connected. And I'll say, well, tap it and it'll start connecting.
Yeah, and that actually is the case too. Like what just happened here can be what will happen to you also if you went and took a call and then you came back to the Blue Dot app, you went to respond to a text, you come back to the Blue Dot app. If you leave, I mean, I was just sitting here talking, but if you are doing other things or you walk away from your phone to cook dinner and then you come back and it's like timed out, it's not hard to fix it and get back. And I picked the one that had my serial number. So I knew that that was the serial number of the one I'm holding. So that's that. Okay, so I'll pull up Materia Medica next because this next one, and then I'll vibrate on this one. So on Materia Medica, this is basically covered also in, well, it's covered in both the basic and the advanced workshops, but I'm gonna do a scan. This is the homeopathic remedies, and I think there's 52 in homeopathy is not a lot, but these are the more common homeopathic remedies. When we get into the more advanced stuff in a little bit, I'll show you how to work around this, but I can also show you how to work around Bach. If you know a Bach essence that's great for what you're going through or what your granddaughter's going through, just, you can use it. You don't have to even do the, you don't have to do this part. This part is only for people that just don't know what they want to do or they need guidance. But this is the steps I do. I do Bach first. So if you want to write this down, I do Materia Medica second, because Materia Medica, it goes into the homeopathic remedies and it gives a lot of good clues. Sometimes it's so right on, it's crazy, especially on the ones I've done, like with people close to me that I can see, okay, so her top remedy is 61% carbo veg. And so it talks about being in a state of collapse, severe instances, sluggish digestion. She is going through a lot. I'm going there this weekend to kind of intervene a little bit with her, because my daughter's just like, okay, I can't, I don't know how to deal with her. So grandma to the rescue, right? We're gonna see what happens. But I have the Healy. I have a secret weapon. She's not going to even know what's going on. And not that I can't do it remotely. It's just that I'm going to be doing a lot of stuff with her in person, especially on the pink dot, but the blue dot too. So anyway, this one's 61% carbo veg. And you can read these. I'm not going to read all these on my granddaughter because you guys don't care. It's 60%, 58%, 56, 55. And it's going to take the top 5, and some of them may be under 50%. That's okay. But there is something over 50%. So I'm going to go back and touch actions and touch vibrate. And I'm going to use the default of 1 minute, 20 seconds. Maria and I've said many times that we use the default because we think the default is there for a reason. Now, if you only have 10 minutes and you want to do 5 or 6 things, don't do a minute, or do, 37 seconds, or do 17 seconds, or do longer if you want. Maybe some of you on another call can talk about when you've done more time and you've seen a benefit. I personally have only done it a few times, and I've gotten great results with just 1 minute, 20 seconds. So anyway, once I choose that, I hit start. And now it's going to do a countdown of 1 minute, 20 seconds, and it's going to broadcast these remedies to my granddaughter. And she's not here. I'm in Houston. She's in San Antonio. She's not anywhere near me. So this is going to give her a little touch of these remedies. So there's a lot of ways that you can work with remedies, whether it be a broadcast, or taking the oral remedy, or the imprint of a remedy, or writing the remedy name on a piece of paper. It's all information. So if you think of it like that, is you're getting an informational remedy. That's basically what's happening here.
And this isn't coming out of the Healy right now. This is coming from the cloud. This is not coming from the Healy itself. This is being broadcast from the cloud itself. Quantum medicine. See how it's scrolling? So the top bars to the right, where it says vibrate at the top, and then to the right, there's those vertical bars. If you were to click on that, you can choose to either scroll or little screenshots. Yep, so card view. And the speed at which, so that you could read them if you wanted to. Yeah, so you can make them go fast. I personally like the scrolling, but some people really like the card view. And so if you hit that, then it's basically there, and then it'll switch to the next one, and then it'll switch to the next one. So you can go back and forth, choose. It defaults to scrolling. You have to choose if you want the card view, but that's what those lines are for.
Can you do the card view for I Ching?
You can do the card view on anything that is in the blue app above gold, the blue dot app above gold in the database. So all of the I Ching, the Schussler salts, the Materia Medica, the Bach, the Alaskan, and the Australian flowers, all of that you can either scroll or card view.
Okay, the next thing I'm doing is amino acids, and I don't like the name of this. It should be nutrition, because this folder is not limited to amino acids. It's 70 something items, and it's all types of nutritional support. So I'm not sure why they named it that, unless there was some kind of weird translation thing.
I know that Martin Whitman mentioned on one of his calls that he wished they would have named it vital substances opposed to amino acids. Also, all of these in the upper portion of the resonance in the list, all of these are on the ATP 123 on that screen that I was showing you under your device, Blue Dot app. You can scroll down and you can click on the PDF that has all of these. But on the next time that you go, Gwen, to the listing, let's show them the little eye on the right-hand side.
Okay.
So that they can see.
Okay, I'll do that. Okay, so this one's nutrition, same thing. She has things over 50%. If I want to do something with this, I can go look at the internet. She doesn't eat beef at all, so I'm not surprised, low iron. She literally eats cheese and fruit. So if I want to look up, I would go to Google. Well, actually, I'll do it right now. This is actually what I would do, or vitamin B3 benefits. So if I want to see what the benefits are for L-serine, and I do this all the time because this is how I learn. I mean, how are you going to know, if you just look at it and go, oh, well, that's interesting. Well, that, you don't learn anything. So if I want to see what L-serine is for, it says it's for the synthesis of phosphatidylserine that makes up the cell membrane of neurons. It's essential for growth of neuronal processes. And it says it doesn't know why how it affects the brains, but it says cognitive vitality. And serine is one of the amino acids. So it talks about here 5 of the health benefits. So I do look up stuff like serine's not something I know it's amino acid, but I'm not like specifically familiar with what all it does. I know phosphatidylserine is also important, not only in the brain and cognition, but also having to do with the nervous system and also having to do with the adrenals, like sometimes calming, sometimes going to sleep. And so you see, it says it has to do with the process of making tryptophan, and tryptophan has to do with serotonin, which has to do with mood, digestion, and sleep. And here's my old granddaughter who will not sleep. So it's the number one thing. Well, this has to do with the synthesis of tryptophan. I mean, you don't have to be a practitioner or doctor to figure this out. Just go to the internet, type in what it is that shows up, and say the benefits. We talk about this in the workshop too, about, you know, kind of how to be a little health detective and go back. And so I can go back and just go back in and vibrate. And so I didn't miss a beat, but I learned something, you know, of why that might show up on her. So I can broadcast that. I'm not going to do the whole thing to show you. So now let me go back to what Maria was asking me to do. So I'm going to go back to Cheyenne and go back here to the list. And then, so I don't do Australian bush on everybody. I might, if Bach doesn't have something over 50%. Sussler salts is minerals mostly. And then Iking, I don't do Iking on everybody either. And then I go to the Healy Analyze All, but let's just pull up Sussler salts and I hit the I button, the information. And is something supposed to show up there, Maria?
Yep, it is.
Okay, is that all it's gonna say?
Oh, usually it shows the list. So let's go back.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, there it is.
It just took a minute. So this is how you can see what's in there.
Yeah, and all
I
of these
thought
are
it was-
listed on ATP 123, so you can go in and research if things show up quite a bit. You can definitely look at all of that. But each of the categories has that little eye to the right. And if you just gently tap on the little eye, the little blue eye, then you'll see what's in each category. So if you click on Bach remedies at the top of the little eye, it's loading.
Oh, there you go.
There they are. Yeah, so that's just a way to see what's in them.
Okay, so now the next step I do, well, hold on, is I go then, this is just me, after I've done Bach, Materia Medica, and amino acids or nutrition, I do those 3 in that order. And then I go to the very bottom of the list and I go to all Healy programs, because this is then running a scan on the subcategories that you have available in Healy. And I'm going to put my thumb on there again, because this is now going to tell me which program list to go to today for her. If I don't have an idea of something I want to do, like if I wanted to override this, I could just go do contentment. I could do the mental. I could do stuff that has to do with being calm, you know, like relax and things that are logical, like just looking at the program list. And so it says number 1 at 67%, the gold cycle. Number 2, Healy bioenergetic program list number 2. 3rd, chakras, skin, and meridians 1. Now, all of these are 50% or higher. If the last 2 are 37%, I would skip them. That's me. I would skip anything that doesn't have a high resonance, but and then I write these down on a piece of paper, because I don't want to go back and forth and do this 5 times. So I just write down gold, bio 2, chakra, skin, meridian 1. And then that tells me, okay, this one I need to do. I'm not going to do a balancing here. I don't personally. I use the information just to know, okay, well, what am I going to do next if I really just have no clue, or if I just am trying to give someone the Healy experience. So then I'm going to go to gold cycle, because that's the one that does show up as her number 1. And gold does show up a lot at over 50%. I mean, I would say more than half the time I do this, it's gold is in there somewhere. Okay, so it's saying pure energy, balance, relax, and care. But you see how only pure is high at 59%. So I can do a custom on this. I'm going to tell you that's what I would do personally. It's 6:16 at night. Now this is me just being logical. At 6:16 at night, I'm not really wanting to send my granddaughter energy, gold energy. I'm not going to send her bioenergetic boost. I'm not going to send her something that's stimulating. Okay, that just doesn't make sense to me. I'm going to show the custom now, Maria, just because
Okay.
it makes sense to do it right now. So if I wanted to kind of bypass this and go, okay, I want to do gold cycle pure, and I want to do it in a custom way. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to do it first the way Maria taught me. So you guys should write notes, because you guys are going to ask me this 20 times and I'm going to go through it once or twice. Okay. So I'm going to go slow. If you want to do a custom something for yourself or your client or your family member, go to aura analysis, choose your person, and you have to start with record aura. It's the only choice on the screen. And what I tell people all the time is then you're going to start clicking the hot pink buttons until you get to a pencil. Okay, so there's our first hot pink button. I don't care what it says, just remember hot pink. So click analysis. There's our second hot pink, start analysis. And here's our third hot pink. You're going to do 3 hot pinks. Don't worry about what they say. Just remember 3 hot pinks, touch the buttons. All I'm trying to do is get to a customizable field. If I scroll up slightly, you see the little pencil. You see it's hidden. You can't see it right there. And you're going to go, no, I don't see the pencil. Scroll up with your thumb. Just scroll. You can scroll. You don't have to wait for it to start moving. Okay. If I go to the customizable field, actually there's 2 ways to do this, but anyway, I'm going to do it this way. And I can then now edit any of these entries. So if I want to simply send her the gold pure, I can type gold pure program. I don't want to send her energy. Remember, don't send something that doesn't make sense. Don't send thyroid stuff at night. Don't send adrenal boost. Don't send energy at night. Don't do sleep in the morning. Don't do stuff that doesn't make any sense. You know, like look at what you're doing instead of just like, you know, being in like autopilot mode. Now, I don't normally erase this stuff. I'm going to show you that you can. The reason I don't erase it is this is showing us her top aura balancing, but let's say you don't want to do anything related to aura balancing. It doesn't matter. Just delete it. This is still the way you get the custom field in there. Now, I would normally leave it because I'm kind of lazy and I'm going to do this the fastest way possible. But there's my gold pure program. I'm going to now click the check mark. Okay, so let's repeat what you did. You went to aura. You click the first button because you have to, whatever it says. I don't even know what it says because I just am on and just doing it. Then I hit the hot pink button 3 times. It's always the same 3 times. You go to pencil, which gives you an editable field. And then you type in what you want to do. This could be a Bach sweet chestnut. This could be Bach white chestnut. This could be Pepper Sulph. This could be Arnica. This could be, I'm calm and happy. Like I could put this right here. I am calm and happy. I don't want to say and well behaved. I think that's kind of overriding her free will a little bit. But I could. But let's just say I'm gonna do this. Gold pure, I am calm and happy. I'm gonna click the check mark. And now I'm back to kind of square one, you know, but you see it's still gonna do these other things that have to do with these other aura balancing. There's another custom way to do it. I'll show you in a second. So if I click vibrate and start, then as this scrolls, you see right there, right now, it says gold program right there. Gold pure program, I am calm and happy. You see? So now it's including that in the broadcast. You can do custom fields on all of these. You can go to all these little pencils and change your custom field and put in there all kinds of stuff. You could put your manifestation statement. You could put your personal goals. You can put your nutritional things. I could have put iron in there because she might be anemic. I can put whatever vitamins or things that I should be taking that I know somehow, like because of doing the nutrition panel. So, you know, this is why we don't want to delete our Blue Dot app to show you the master key, because once you set up things that you're doing for people that are custom, if you go out and delete your app and come back in and put in a different master key, you're going to lose that information. So that's the reason we don't want to do that. And so I can even go back and name this. So I'm going to go ahead and hit stop. So now if I want to go to home and then go to lists, you'll see right there, I have Cheyenne. And if this shows what I just did. And if I want to swipe left, I can rename this and I can call it Calm and Happy, or I can call it whatever I want. If it's for my dog, I usually will put like the name of the remedy, like Hepasulf or Carbo-Veg or whatever remedy name I want, because then I can just go retrieve it that way. So now it has a new name. Before that's a client that I did, and it shows all her history. So you can go to your list to see what you ran on a person and look at the history. But if you want to call it something else and then recall it later, you can get to it here under lists or under the home screen, under clients, and under her name. You can go to the 3 bars in the upper right-hand corner and show list. And then it's going to show just for her. Maria, before I get out of this, do you have anything you want to add?
Did you want me to go through what I do?
Yeah. So yeah, so let me just, yeah, that's perfect timing right now. So basically just remember, okay, I do Bach, Matera Medica, amino acids, which is nutrition. I do all the programs in Healy, and then I go back to those top 5 if they're over 50%, and I do those individually. And if there's something that doesn't make sense to send at the time of day, I'll do a custom. Or if I just want to pop in really quick to do something for Eddie or do something for somebody, I can just pop in and do a custom. I don't even have to do all those scans. If I know in my mind what is most resonant with the person or something that they're requesting. So you can just kind of go in and do the custom on the fly. I think before we get into yours, Maria, let me just show the other way to do the custom.
Okay, that'd be perfect.
Because it is actually a little bit, let me see if I can get to it. So after you do the 3 pink dots, I can't remember if this is the way, because I always do it the way that I learned from you to begin with, but there's a place here under actions.
Actions.
Add
Add manually.
Add manually. And then you get all blank field, and I can just put in whatever I want. So that is a cleaner way to do it. I'm just a person of habit. Like I just boom, 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 do it the same way. But this is another way that we have shown on these calls in the past. So you can just go, let me go back to it. So when you get here where the pencil is, instead of going and erasing stuff, go to actions and then the plus sign, add manually. And here I can put, custom, whatever. I am relaxed and ready for bed, whatever. And then I can send this and I can save it. I can rename it. So that's just basically how you do that. Okay. So Maria is going to tell us what she does. And then that's it. So I've done eight scans. So 3, well, potentially 9, 3 plus the Healy all. And then whichever 5 that leads me to, but almost always something isn't over 50%. So it's not usually that many. And then I do each one for a minute, 20 seconds, and I take screenshots. So if I'm here, like, let's say this is the result page on my phone, I can just do the off on button plus the top power up button. And if I do those together, it takes a picture. And I can then go text that to the person I'm working on, and it shows exactly what I've done. So I do that. I take pictures and screenshots of each page, because you can't go back and do it. If you go back and do it, it's possible that it changes, and you've just sent something, you've balanced them, you've done something different. So if it changes, you want to take the picture in the moment, and you don't want to go back and retrace all your steps anyway. Because if the person says, well, can you send me a screenshot or can you send me a picture? Do it when you're in there, because it just makes sense to do it with the results instead of trying to go back and recreate what you've done. Okay, Maria, so let's just say this is your client. Tell me what you do.
Okay, so first off, if you hit the scan button at the bottom, it takes you back to, even though there's a home icon at the bottom left, the little scanner button in the middle, their little heartbeat button, when you open up your blue app, that is what it will come to. So if you can, yeah, this is what it'll open to always. It never opens to the little home button with the client list or anything like that. It always opens here. So usually what I tell people is there's 5 different steps. So I want you to just, after you've entered your client, there's 5 different steps that will get you through every single time of doing everything that Gwen just showed in a really easy manner. So if this is the home screen, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to hit resonance. So you're going to hit the blue dot. You're going to go find your client, either you or someone else. You're going to continue to the database. And then you're going to pick. So it's those steps every single time. And so if you can get that rhythm down, that makes this a lot easier. So whenever I'm training somebody on the Blue app, I'm always saying, this is the pattern. You hit the scan button, you go to the resonance, you find your client, you go to the database, and you pick what you want to scan. It's those steps. And I know that it takes you getting into it and doing it, and then it just becomes really quick. Okay, so the first thing that I do is I do go to the Bach remedies and I run them, because I think the emotional component to every aspect of healing is really, really important. Now, do you see where there's the little pencil next to Bach flowers? Let's say you accidentally hit Materia Medica instead. You could click that little pencil to the left of Bach flowers and it'll take you right back to the list. You don't have to start all over again because you just touched something wrong. You just go ahead and touch that little pencil and it takes you back to your list. So I do the Bach flowers first. And then when I was studying for the advanced course, the Alaskan gem elixirs are what really go in and set the Bach flower remedies in motion. They sort of solidify. It's a way to take the Bach flower essences, and then with the Alaskan gem elixirs, it just kind of ties it all together. So I learned that when I was researching for the advanced course. So now that's what I do. I do the Bach and then I do the Alaskan gem elixirs. Now, if somebody's having physical stuff that I feel like, oh, nutrition is important, then I will do either the Materia Medica or the amino acids or both. But typically I don't do that unless somebody is really calling for that from a nutritional standpoint. I like to do more with the energetics portion and then tackle the nutrition if it's warranted. So let's see what comes up, because she had vervain as her top one. So let's see what Cheyenne shows up with her Alaskan gem elixirs. Moonstone cleanses and circulates energy in the emotional body, increases feminine energy aspects, receptivity and intuition. So balances focus of psychic forces during menstruation. So again, we're looking at hormone balancing. We're looking at, so it's just brings calm, quiet to an overly active mental body, increases one's ability to achieve neutral, serene state. So yeah, so I just usually do those 2 things. And again, Gwen and I are just showing what we do. You come up with your own unique way of doing things because everybody's individual. So I do the Bach and then I do the Alaskan gem elixirs. Then I go back through that pattern again, did the scan, find who you are, go to the database. Now I go down to chakras and I scroll down to the chakras and I scan for the chakras. So again, I'm looking more at the energetic part. Gwen's looking more at the physical attributes, which is great. I mean, because it's just showing the difference. I love it.
And and when you do the vibrate, you also generally do the 1 minute, 20 seconds, right?
I do, unless I'm short on time, and then I'll do like 37 seconds. So here is for her what she would need. And I would go ahead and vibrate this entire list. And same thing, minute and 20 seconds. And I would vibrate that to her. So
Okay,
those are the 3 things that I do before I go to the Healy all programs. I feel like if we can get some emotional balancing happening, then when we go to the Healy all programs, then we can get into it. So when we do this, you wouldn't have to scan her. We could pull up that old list too, but I scan and then again, I take those top 3. Now we've run a lot of different things on her, but look at gold is still there. Was it bioenergetics 2 or 1 on the first one? I can't remember.
It was bio 2. It was also chakras. and skin and meridians, they just changed order,
They
I
just
think.
changed order. So I usually take the top three. I go gold, bioenergetic balance, and Healy. Now this is, or in chakras. Now this is where Gwen and I are a little bit different. If it's anything below 50%, Gwen doesn't do it. But I recognize too that the intention or the focus is pretty broad with what do I have the greatest resonance. So again, I don't focus so much on the percentages. I just look at the top three because it's pulling it up in order. What would be most beneficial in an order? So I take those top three: gold, bioenergetic balance 2, and chakras. And so I write those on a piece of paper. And then I go back through that same rhythm again. I hit the scanner button at the bottom. I hit the blue analysis. I find my client. I continue to the database. Now I'm just going to drill down into the categories to find out what is the top one thing that I could run them on in the pink dot. So the first one is gold. And so we would run and scan the gold to find the top one. I don't really care what the percentage is. I just know it's the top one for that one. So again, it's pure. Boy, she's consistent for everything you run for her. So now I have on my piece of paper in the gold category, I'm going to run the pure program. Now I'm going to go back through those steps again. Hit the scanner button at the bottom, hit the blue dot, find the client, continue to the database. Now I'm going to go into the bioenergetic 2 category. And
Because
I'm
you
going
already did chakras, right?
well, chakras was third, but yeah, I don't know.
Sorry, but would you do
That's okay.
chakras again was my question. Would you do chakras again if it shows up, or you've already done it?
Well, if I hadn't written down what the top one was, which was hers was throat. So we could just put throat. Yeah, so we wouldn't have to run it again since we already did hers.
Okay, that's what, but would you go then to the fourth thing if you don't have 3, or would you just say I've already done it?
Well, so this one is going to be gastrointestinal. So, so it sort of depends. I've got a lot of people who just want to do the two or 3 programs a day. And so I just tell them to pick the top 3 programs. So for Cheyenne, if this were my client, I would say, today you need to run pure, gastrointestinal, and throat chakra. Those would be the 3 top things that we've just pulled from a drilling down from the broadest down to the top one thing out of the top 3 categories. So, but there's some people who like to run 5 or 6 programs a day. Again, it's up to the individual. It's how they respond to it. I always ask people to give a little bit of time in between. Although for me, I have gone from program to program to program. When I first started, I ran 6 programs one day, and I was a little bit not loopy, but my husband drove home. He said, "Do you want me to drive home?" And I was like, "Yeah, I think I want you to drive home." Not that I couldn't have, but I was just very in that place. And
Maria, just to clarify, you're telling them to go to the Pink Dot app
yes,
to
I
run the
am.
program. Okay, I wanted to clarify that because you didn't say that. So you're using the information to guide them, but what if they don't have their own Healy? You're working on the client remotely, then what are you doing?
Okay, so then I would go through the same thing, the Bach, the Alaskan, and the chakras, and I would vibrate that to them for a minute and a half. And then I would go into those top 3 categories. I had already done the chakras. So yes, I would go ahead and vibrate the gold, unless, like you said, it's late in the day and energy showed up, and the bioenergetic, I might run that whole thing. I don't do a lot of vibrating except for the things above the gold programs in this blue app. I use the blue app more for kind of a diagnostic tool. I want to find out what somebody needs to run in their Pink Dot app. And I don't really have people on my client list that I do broadcasting to, because I send them a Healy and I teach them how to do it on the Pink Dot. And then I may do a scan on them so that they can run the Pink Dot on their end. And you know what happens? They buy a resonance. So I really don't have clients that I vibrate to, because pretty much all of my people end up buying a Healy, and most of them buy a resonance because they recognize the value of knowing what it is they need to run, but I have lent them a Healy and they have a Healy in their hand. So that's usually the people. I've got 6 Healys that are roaming around the state and around the country. So that's who I work with. I call and say, hey, how's it going? Do you want me to do a scan on you so you know what you need? I'm investing in them, and in turn, they invest in the Healy. So I don't do a lot of client. I may broadcast to people, just, my 3-year-old grandson, for instance, I may send him, skin or something like that. But I do a lot of the personalized ones like Gwen showed you, where if I need to do something like to my grandson, I will go in and I will put ohms codes and Grabovoi numbers and that type of thing in the personalized screen where you can type in what you want to send them. So I've got a couple of people that I do that for, but that's not the majority of my business.
And I agree. I tell people also which programs to run because a lot of them have Healys already, but I do have some people, including this lady, Annie, that's on here. She wanted to feel it. People say, I want to experience it. I want to see what it is. Or people that are sensitive want to know that it's okay, that they can tolerate the energy or the information or whatever you want to call it. So, I don't do it as a regular thing, but I do it when people ask me and they're considering buying a Healy is, so I might do it in those cases. And that's also when I'm sending the screenshots so they can see what I've done instead of me trying to write it all down and resend it. Like on Annie, I sent her about 12 screenshots because it was everything I did. So if you get in the habit of just, like, okay, here's a screenshot of the list of programs, and that's really a 2-parter. If you just get in the habit of learning how to use your camera to take an image off your screen and then also to do the results, it's easy to share with someone what you did without having to type it or write it or have a whole long conversation about it. Anything else you want to add, Maria, before we get to settings?
In the home, did we show how to go to a client and show their lists?
Yeah.
Okay. I couldn't remember.
Well, I showed on Cheyenne to go to the top 3 bars on the upper right-hand side.
Yeah, and then show lists. Perfect.
And then under settings, and then we'll talk about Aura last because it's kind of its own thing. This is like the pink dot kind of, that you can switch languages if you wanted. You could try connecting to Healy there, but I've never had to do that because it shows up automatically to connect to Healy if you're not connected. So I don't use the settings in this as much as I do in the pink dot because it doesn't have all those things about sounds and notifications and all that stuff. But the settings button is always the gear shift thing. If there's something you want to go look at, like the manual online, or if you want to go to the Healy website for some reason, that's all there. Either one of us can talk about the Aura. Some people do the Aura, some people don't. I found that some people don't really understand it. We went into a lot into it about the advanced workshop. The Aura is, I'll tell you my description and then Maria can tell hers, but some people like this and some people don't. Don't do it if you don't like it. Aura is just your energy field. It's just a field of around you that like has history. It holds information. Some people can tap into it. Some people can are holding a lot of stuff, like they look like either Swiss cheese because of traumas and conflicts, or they're carrying everything around like in their bag of wounds, so the Aura is affected by your life experiences. It's affected by your choices. It's affected by stuff that you have done in your life, or not just experience, but trauma possibly, or imbalances in the Aura is also, like, you can compare it to chakras kind of. It's not exactly the same thing. But when you're recording the Aura, it's separate. I don't know really why they put it separate versus putting it with the other list, because it is kind of works the same way. But if I wanted to, like, there's a picture, the picture, kind of puts the person's image in the middle, which I don't think is weird, but and not weird, but it kind of looks the same. So it's just like overlaying the picture of the chakra colors over the person's face. And then there's a description of these, crown chakras and stuff that show up. If I want to do an analysis, like right now, it's just a photograph. So you almost would have to go to the interpretation to see what that is. But it also is represented as a bar graph of, which ones are need attention the most. And I can start an analysis and go into more information of, the brow chakra and then some other descriptions. And the focus is my aura is strong and stable. This is like the other one saying, what do I have most resonance with now? So this focus is having a strong and stable aura. And this one, what I've noticed is that the description on brow chakra is not the same for everybody. So if brow chakra shows up on your granddaughter and it shows up on you, the actual type description can be different. So I would say, just don't think it's the same and don't read it, because I've seen big differences. I also, for people that don't really know what chakras are, but also the aura, which is the energy field. I've been lucky that I know some really cool people that work in Pune, India, where the World Health Organization, and I'm not talking about the Dr. Fauci COVID stuff. I'm talking about, well, it is the World Health Organization, but there's a whole branch in India that does a lot of study of a lot of things, and they can do aura photography. They can do, I've seen some pretty interesting stuff through Dr. Thornton Streeter and Energy Medicine Exchange, and then Kimberly Shipke, who's a medical researcher. They've actually shown photographs of auras where it shows like almost like if you can imagine this energy field around your body, and if you can imagine a big hole in it, like where you might be leaking energy, like because of an emotional wound, or because of a surgery, or because of something else that has happened to you. It's something that your doctor's not going to talk about. It's something Western medicine doesn't even acknowledge whatsoever. That doesn't mean it's not real. I've seen some pretty incredible case studies of people that I remember one picture that Thornton showed me was a guy that literally got hit by an axe. Like he was not axed to death, but it was an accident, but someone hit him with an axe. So that's already, you can imagine, like in his back. And after the surgery and after recovery, the guy could not get well. Like he was suffering from this injury, even though the doctor said, well, we don't know why, because everything was repaired. And somehow he met Thornton in California, and they took a picture of him with the aura photography. And it literally showed, like, if you can imagine, like you have these colors like around her face here, but if you can imagine this was in the whole body. I hate to do this again, but I don't know how to get back to that without doing it again. If you can imagine that being around their whole body, and if you can imagine something that looks like an axe blade cutting through a backside picture. So in aura photography, it's like a 3-dimensional thing, like literally where he was hit by the axe showed this hole, like this gap. And it was like so interesting, because they had fixed him physically, but they hadn't fixed him emotionally and spiritually. And so you have to, I think you have to have a little bit of an open mind to accept and understand auras and chakras. But like I said, they can be super important, because if we just want to talk about physical and not address the other stuff, we're going to miss a big part of what's wrong with people. And that's my slant on it. So Maria, what do you want to talk about with aura?
Well, I know that I went into great detail in the advanced workshop on this, because the chakras, being the energy centers of the system, are closely related to the different auric fields that go from the physical right around your body to the etheric, which is the transference of physical and spirit energy, the transference of that energy. We're just a bag of atoms spinning at a very slow pace compared to spirit energy. And so there has to be this energy field around us that starts to transfer the information from a very dense, slow moving atom to something that's light speed. That's who we are. We're a spiritual being living in a physical body. So the chakras actually display themselves out in the auric field based on what's happening. So if you could go into the analysis here, Gwen, and get to where it shows, yeah, so go to the next one. And the next one. Okay, and then what comes up is then what the auric field or the chakra color should be and the present state. So see how this one, just this top, taking this top one, the sacral chakra, should be the color orange. That is that etheric field. So that the root chakra being red, think of a rainbow going from your closest to your body all the way out. The red is the physical layer of your body, the physicalness of it. The next layer out is this orange or the sacral chakra. It's connected to that, meaning the etheric or the transfer state. But she's got yellow in there. Yellow is the emotional state. So when things happen to us in our life, our information field changes in that she has some mental or emotional stuff tied up into the transference of energy, which happens to be in that etheric field, which is orange. So again, when you're looking at these, it's almost like you're going, well, they're talking about auras and chakras and they're completely different. But the auric field is so influenced by what happens to us, and what happens to us influences our chakras and how they're relating. So this is where I want to go with this. Some people will say, well, my chakra on this one, maybe it said the thyroid or the throat chakra was low. But if I go to my chakra reading in the blue app and I run against that, it may say that it's my heart. How can that be different? If the auric field is showing this as the throat chakra is low or needing assistance, but then when I run chakras, it's heart. So there's a disconnect there. It's reading the same thing. They're reading completely different things. This being the sacral chakra is showing the information that has made its way out to the auric field based on the etheric nature or the emotional nature. She's got some emotion that's tied up in the information field there, transferring from spirit to physical. So this is just showing what that looks like and how to balance it. When we went to the chakra for Cheyenne, Gwen's granddaughter here, it showed throat chakra. Remember that when we scanned the chakras, the throat chakra. That scan is showing out of all the chakras, which one is resonating the lowest in general. This is showing what the chakras are, what they're projecting out into the auric field based on information transfer. They're completely separate scans. So some people try to tie them together and say, well, this isn't cohesive. It's not scanning the same thing. No, they're completely different scans. This is really the auric field, but the chakras are so tied because of the information that's coming out into the auric field. That's why they have chakras here. It's showing you why. Well, she has in her information field or transference of etheric field from the physical to the spirit, she's got some emotional hang up. And here it says an intellectual imagination of parenthood. So yeah, she's got some emotion dealing with that she's not the parent. And that makes so much sense based on what Gwen said. She's not the parent. She wants to be the parent. She wants to be her own parent.
Right.
So
she doesn't
Can I
think
ask a
she
question?
needs a parent.
Exactly. So I went into great depth in this in the advanced workshop. So if you've taken it, go back and watch that. If you haven't, you might invest the money to go in, because just this information plus everything else we gave is just super helpful when you're looking at the auric field and the auric scan.
Also, I want to add, Maria, that you see here, this one's a 90% resonance, which is much higher than any number we saw on the other scans for her.
Right.
So I also, I just don't tend to ignore the resonance because I understand how resonance works. And if it's a
Right.
high resonance, I'm definitely going to spend the time to balance this one. I'm not going to do it right now, but I'll do it tonight, because this could be really where the healing starts. And then you
Right.
might even consider going here first. I don't normally, but in this case, it makes me think it's not a bad idea to go to aura first, do some aura balancing, just like Maria does chakra balancing in the beginning. I think you could go either direction with that. And try to get a little support. It's also interesting as just of what I know about her, everything I've seen tonight is right on, just like when I do things
Mhm.
for anyone else. Now, when you're reading and interpreting something for a complete stranger, it does feel like sometimes it's a shot in the dark. That's why I just send them the screens, because I'm not going to try to figure out what's going on if it's
Right,
someone
because
I
if you
don't
hit
know at all.
right, because if you hit actions, go ahead and hit actions now, and then show PDF. If you haven't done that yet, try it, because it literally will bring up all the information that now the little dots at the top, the 3 dots with the lines that looks like a half triangle, that will show you how to share it to an email, to a text, or whatever. And you can send them that information and allow them to read it. This is what showed up for you. And you can do that in all of the Blue app scans. The share or show PDF comes up in all of those.
Yeah, I think it's like so cool. We just have so much we can do here. We can do the custom remedies. We can
Yep.
let it be a pink dot program selector. We can do the program broadcast from here under Vibrate. We can also kind of get an emotional profile of our client or what's going on. I mean, if you see stuff about them being stubborn, they don't really comply, they don't follow rules, do you think they're going to listen to you? Like, do you think they're going to follow instructions? Probably not. So like, to me, it's all a clue. But the other reason I like to send the information to them instead of guessing. Now, if I was going to talk to a client just from a practitioner perspective, I would turn it into a question anyway. I'm going to send my client the screenshots just so they can read it themselves and they know their own life story. I don't need to know it. But if I were going to ask them something, I would say something like, well, how do you feel about, would someone else maybe accuse you of being stubborn or obstinate, or, how do you feel about parenthood or being a mom, or what's your relationship with your parents? So I just turn it into a question. I'm not accusing them that this is a problem, especially if it had a low resonance. But if it had a high resonance, like 90%, I'm thinking there's an issue with parents. There's maybe an issue with authority. So I would just ask it in a question, and then, I mean, I can even ask these questions while I'm actually doing the Vibrate, just to have a conversation. And then people think you're like awesome because you know all this stuff.
Well, and the other
know
part too, if I can add to that, I will actually go a little farther and say, if this doesn't sound like you, does this sound like mom or grandma or dad or grandpa? Because now we're looking at the generational conditioned responses that might be there. So you're not being accusatory, but you're just allowing them to sort of do some introspection. So I always add that. If this doesn't sound like you, does it sound like mom or grandma or dad or grandpa? And allow them to kind of do a little bit of, yeah, maybe. Could you go back, because this might be a great time for your, to show the negative influences for your granddaughter. So go back to the aura, and go ahead and do an aura scan on her. And then we'll do the check mark on the negative influences, because we get questions on that too. So down at the bottom here, right above that start analysis button, see where it says include high negative relevancies. So this is stuff that's just sort of stealth, maybe on a subconscious level. The client doesn't know maybe what's under the surface. But let's see what's up for Cheyenne. Maybe this will be revealing for you too, Gwen.
Yeah, I always say negative is either suppressed, subconscious, they're not aware of it, but it may be a bigger deal. Like, let's say your negative number was -90, but your positive number was a +60. Well, this one's showing 92, and indigo makes sense just because I think she told me the other day I had a ghost in my house.
Let's see if there's any negatives. Scroll and see if there's any negative relevancies. There's one. So see, she's got some of that transference of information, that etheric field. That's showing up in her crown chakra, which should be purple, white. And she's got some yellow showing up there. The person feels authorities to be powerful and controlling. Absolutely. That's what's going on with her, is she's this little 3-year-old, a 30-year-old in a 3-year-old body. 100%. That's what's going on.
Yeah. And well, anyway, I won't get into anything weird, but there is kind of a weird, I will briefly get into a weird story with her. She was named after my son-in-law's sister who died in a car accident.
Wow.
And she talks all the time about Christina, who's Cheyenne's middle name, who she never met, but she'll say weird things about Christina. And like, maybe I haven't seen her in a month. And the first thing she'll say to me, she'll say, "Did you know Christina died?" And I'm like, "Yes." And she goes, do you ever talk to Christina? And I'm like, why? She asked me if I ever talked to Christina. Cause I think she's very special, this little child, but
Yeah.
Christina died in a car accident, and it was because of problems with authority, I have to say. And
Wow.
sometimes my daughter says that she's worried because Cheyenne has a very strong personality like Christina did. But the night Christina died, she had snuck out of the house and she was dating a black boy, which was not okay with her parents. And she did everything to kind of get back at her parents. And so they'd been drinking. She was underage, and it was the week before she was graduating from high school. And they were racing two cars on a highway. And the car didn't flip, but she was hanging out of the car. And the boyfriend turned, and she fell out of the car and died. And he left her there. He left her on the side of the road.
Wow.
So it was like this really traumatic thing for my son-in-law. But the weird thing is that this is who Cheyenne's named after. There's like this really weird connection with her and her dead aunt. And she asked me about her all the time. And I'm like, why does she keep asking me about her? And she never met her. It's not like they had a personal relationship. So I think there's more going on here. And sometimes I have these kid client cases that have this kind of stuff.
And the D100, we're talking about in the physical, and the 100,000 is lifetime. It's a lifetime experience. The chart for all of the homeopathic is on that same page of the ATP 123 in the Your Device blue scan. Just scroll down and there'll be a link where you can look at the homeopathic and what they represent. So scroll down and see if there's another negative for her. I know we're coming up on our hard break, but the person knows the direction in their life is going, and they adapt to changes accordingly. So, but see, this is a state where that crown chakra should be violet, and she's got violet in it. So, she's moving towards that. She recognizes that on a really deep level. She's just 3 and she can't control her own life yet.
But look at this. Look how many references there are to her for indigo and violet.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we have indigo children. So we have indigo here. We have violet here, which is basically indigo. We have violet here. Yeah. And then I saw indigo here.
You're there.
And then, so there's a lot of stuff going on with her. And that's what I keep telling and they're indigo again. Like, I don't know if I've ever done a scan on anyone that had 6 indigo violet references. And I've told my daughter, she is not a normal child. And I'm not just saying that because I'm the grandmother. I'm saying that because I work with these kids that are challenged because they're very gifted, they're empathic, they're intuitive, they're sensitive. She sees ghosts. There's just things that are happening with some of these kids that they need support instead of someone tuning them out or trying to, and indigos do not do well with an iron fist. They don't do well with you're grounded or wait till your father comes home. They don't care. Yeah. Because they're bigger picture little kids. And so anyway, I just find it's interesting that my daughter's having to deal with this because my daughter's not into this at all.
Well, I hope that everybody is seeing just through this right here, how important and how amazing the Healy is just in the aura scan. I mean, we could literally do a 2-hour just seminar or Zoom call just on the aura scan and how to decipher and go through to help people. But the biggest thing that you can do is run it and vibrate it. I mean, that's one of the best things that you can do is just run it and vibrate it.
Yeah, that's what we can kind of end with. We didn't want to take questions tonight, and I did have a hard stop at 7. So we didn't, we're not going to take questions, but next week, if you have questions about anything or technical, whatever, we'll get back on track with just answering your questions next week. Is there anything, Maria? I can't think of anything that we didn't cover with the blue dot. Basically this is how we use it. And if you want to learn more about the interpretation of things, and those are their own modalities, essences is a modality, and nutrition's it's kind of a separate course. Go back and consider the workshops because they really were made specifically for Healy people. They weren't really offered to the general public. They were not to my clients even, but just for Healy people. So it should really help you. And some people have already told me now that they've watched it more than like they attended it live. Now they've watched it another time and they've gotten more out of it. It always is like that. Because if you guys are on the call tonight and you participated live, you might want to go watch it again, because just like everything else, the first time it's all new information. You're like, oh, I'm overloaded. The second time you're actually getting it. And the third time you're actually connecting the dots to people that you know that you're trying to help right now. So remember that you have those recordings if you did the classes live, so you can go back and learn again and get more out of it. I learned from Maria.
I
I
learned
learned
from
some
Gwen.
stuff.
We just had fun. That was fun. So yeah, let's end it here. And then we can, if you have questions, email us at GwenandMaria2020@gmail.com. That's Gwen and Maria, all spelled out. GwenandMaria2020@gmail.com. And so if you had any questions on this, we can get you answered. And then maybe on a follow-up call, we can maybe next Tuesday. I don't know if we had anything specifically planned, but maybe next Tuesday we can do some pink dot, blue dot, just follow-up questions from these two Zooms. The pink dot Zoom that we did last week is up on our YouTube channel right now. I will fill in the timestamps, and then I will be working tonight and tomorrow on getting this one timestamped and uploaded as well. So hopefully this has been helpful.
Yeah, I hope so too. And I hope everybody has a great night. I hope that you guys learn, at least some of you are regulars, you're with us every Tuesday. So hopefully there was something you got out of it tonight too. And then if you have ideas for future calls, also let us know. And also for the new people on the call tonight that found out about this from someone else, we do this call every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Central Standard. There's only been a few times we've had to miss because of travel or something, but either it's both Maria and I or one of us that does the Tuesday 5 p.m. So please try to plug in when you can. We keep kind of returning through subjects, but Healy has enough new stuff going on. There's always new things to share as well. So thanks a lot for sticking with us for the 2 hours.
And there will be a Wednesday night call, Minutes with Maria, tomorrow night at 5:30 Central Time, 4:30 Mountain Time, 5:30 Central Time.
You'll have to
Yeah.
set that Zoom call up, Maria, because it's not on the thing right now, I guess, because you didn't have one last week.
Because I didn't have one last week, so I'll reset it up. So yeah, anybody that wants to do anything with the back office, ATP 123, the binary compensation plan, points, all of that type of stuff, anything not related to Healy Tech is usually what we try to focus on Wednesdays. So thank you guys for showing up. We love you all.
Yeah, we love you guys. See you
Take
next
care.
week. Bye.